Aquaman himself, Jason Momoa, has always been vocal on social media, and today is no different. But this time, he has left the DC fandom with more questions than answers. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. Today, Jason Momoa posted a very interesting video on Instagram, and unfortunately, nobody knows what it's about. Everybody seems to have their own theories, but Jason Momoa has kept his cards very close to his chest. I'll play the video for you now, and then we can try and work out what on earth he is talking about.
Worst thing in the world. All right, this needs to be documented. What's the date today? The 6th of November. The greatest news, some of the greatest news in my life just happened. I can't say anything about it. Yes! Oh! I can't wait to share with you, but they won't let me share anything. I want you to remember this date, November 6th. Mwah! You know who you are? Mwah! Mwah, maestro. Mwah!
Now that is why we are left with more questions than answers. There is a real chance that this doesn't have anything to do with DC. But it has caused a lot of DC fans to become excited, and theories as to who he is talking about have been circulating the internet already. Now I want to make it clear that we shouldn't expect anything from this. We have no confirmation for this being related to DC, but I have to say there has only been one time that I can remember where Momoa has been this hyped about anything on Instagram, and that was when the Snyder Cut was getting released. Because of his reaction and his use of the word maestro at the end of the video, my mind and many other Snyder Cut fans' minds went straight to something related to Zack Snyder. Now, if you didn't know, Jason Momoa loves Zack Snyder. He is very grateful to Zack for giving him the Aquaman role and for reigniting his career. So Momoa has a lot of love for Zack Snyder. Would that be strong enough for Jason Momoa to say that this is one of the best pieces of news he's had in his life? Maybe, but I'm not going to see that as the definitive answer just yet. But for just a second, let's create a hypothetical scenario. Let's just say it is about Zack Snyder and DC. What could that look like? Now, my guess would be that DC Studios was going to bring Zack Snyder back for a Justice League 2. Not his original storyline, nor would it be against Darkseid just yet, but another villain from the DC catalogue. DC currently has no film scheduled for 2024 or 2025, and whilst 2024 looks like it will probably be where a Superman sequel will take place amongst other DC stories, a Justice League sequel released in 2025 would be a great way to bring back general audiences and convince the DC fandom that they are heading in the right direction, at least in my opinion. Anyway, the main thing is that if Jason Momoa is celebrating Zack Snyder's return to the DC universe, this is what I expect DC Studios to have planned with Snyder. But as far as we are concerned right now, this is just a fan theory on a hypothetical scenario. The problem with this video right now is that it could literally be about anything. There are little to no specifics in it. The only thing we could focus in on is when he said they're not letting him say anything. Now, I would assume they are a film studio, and DC Studios would want to keep big pieces of news like what Momoa is talking about under wraps for as long as possible, but still hyping the audience up enough to create conversations, just like this one. The other thing is Momoa calling whoever he is talking about a maestro. Now, the Snyderverse fandom have instantly directed that towards Zack Snyder, and I see why with what we have just talked about. Momoa loves and admires Snyder, so that is something he would say about Zack Snyder. But like I said earlier, we have no confirmation on that. Personally, I would love it to be Zack Snyder returning to the DCU. I loved all three films he's created for DC, and I think he had a really good idea for future Justice League stories, and with his creativity, I think he could create a really strong Justice League 2 that is set after Justice League 1, but before Darkseid's invasion. To think of all the amazing possibilities with a Justice League 2 really makes me hope that Momoa is talking about Snyder coming back to DC. We don't know how realistic that is at the moment, as DC Studios has only existed for 7 days, but I'm going to hope that that in the future, Snyder is included somewhere in the DC universe. Now I want to wager in my own little theory. What if MOMOA is referring to a decision made by new co-head of DC Studios, James Gunn? He is currently the one with the most creative power at DC, and so if a decision has been made that Jason Momoa loves, I can see him calling James Gunn a maestro. The interesting thing is those two theories can intertwine. James Gunn could have decided to bring back Zack Snyder, and that is why Jason Momoa is so happy. They can easily interlink, but something some fans are analysing is the voice in the background who tells Jason Momoa that it is the 6th of November. Some fans believe that it is Ben Affleck's voice you hear. Now, I'm always open to listening to people's different theories about things like this, but I think I can very easily confirm that this is not Ben Affleck that you hear. If we zoom into the background where the voice initially came from, we can see two people behind Momoa, neither of which look like Ben Affleck. Now I can hear it, it does sound similar to Ben Affleck's voice, but unless he's out of frame somewhere else, I just think it's a voice that sounds similar to Affleck's. I think it's very easy to hear a voice you want to hear when the audio quality is muffled and it's not directly in range of the microphone. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with those fans who think that it is Ben Affleck talking to Jason Momoa. But I have to say, right now, I think almost any theory is as viable as the other. And I know this has a high chance of not being about DC, but there have been a lot of fans online getting really excited about this video, and I wanted to just reassure those fans that this could very likely not be about DC, so we shouldn't get our hopes up. Actually, we should keep our hopes high. What shouldn't be high are our expectations. We should not expect this to be about DC or Zack Snyder because that is what will get us disappointed. But we should keep our hopes high because that is what can drive us forward and can increase our excitement for the future of the DC universe. So this might be about DC, it might not. We won't know for a while, but it has created an exciting conversation throughout the DC fandom. I guess we will just have to hope for the best and be patient. Remember, patience is key, and hope never dies. I will be patiently hoping for Snyder to return to DC and hoping that Jason Momoa's video is at least DC related. In my ideal scenario, Zack Snyder returns in 2024 to create a Justice League 2 that is a completely new idea that nobody knows about, that incorporates more characters within the DCU, but is set before Darkseid invading Earth. And then, maybe 5 years after, Justice League 3 and 4 can happen, where Snyder returns to allow Darkseid to invade the DCU. That doesn't mean I'd complain if he came back just to direct his Justice League 2 and 3 story. I would still be over the moon. I just think the DCU has so much more potential to grow before taking on Darkseid, and we've been given this opportunity to allow the DC universe to expand before Darkseid invades Earth. So for that storyline to wrap up before the DC universe has expanded would be a real wasted opportunity in my eyes. But I guess we will just have to wait and see what James Gunn and Peter Safran have in store for us. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!